And we welcome you back to the interview, sponsored by Texas Girls Coach Association in association with Big Daddy Media. And, anytime you get to talk to a state championship coach, you do it. That one right there is a state championship coach. And as we talked to Natalie Puckett of Lovejoy, and you can see the Lovejoy right across the chest, so she's really proud. But she's got a lot of history with Lovejoy. We'll get to that in a minute. Going into last season, and we'll wrap last season up in one big thing because it's such a great story. But at the same time, I want to start advancing past last season. You weren't highly sure of winning a state championship, let alone getting that far as you entered your first year as head coach at Lovejoy. But at the same time, those of us in the media who knew you and knew your ties to the program, and of course, Lovejoy program, it's one of those you just, you never rebuild, you just kind of reload. We're not surprised, I guess, is the commentary. So give us your thoughts about last season.
Yeah, so this time last year, I think we talked a little bit about, coming off of the 2020 season, going undefeated and trying to, manage that mental aspect of starting something new.
And wearing the big red targets on the back and being the first year coach. And yeah,
there's a lot going on. Starting the season 0-1 wasn't ideal either, this past year, but
but you got the loss out of the way. You didn't have to worry about it anymore, right?
No, we actually literally talked in the locker room that night. Like, okay, like if that's not a summary or whatever of this year isn't last year, then I don't know what is. But no, I think this past year it was incredible. The girls that we had, kind of bought into each other and bought into me as their new coach, and it was a I feel like journey is kind of overused, but it was just a journey. We had our highs and lows and learning moments and teaching moments. And it was just an incredible year for all of us. So
how many teaching moments and learning moments did you have last year? I know Volleypalooza was at least one of them, right?
Oh, I probably learned more from them than they did from me. as they're in multiple gyms and learning every day. And I mean, I'd be dumb if I didn't learn from them either. I definitely had some learning moments as a coach too. And, I should probably make a list of, all the things I learned in my first year. Just to be able to go back and revisit those things. It's just, I don't know. It was just an awesome year.
But at the same time, I remember when we first talked too, and the first couple of times we talked, there was no lowering of expectations. There was no, okay, this is kind of a bump year, whatever happens, and then we'll get back to being Lovejoy. The plan was always, we are Lovejoy. And I remember specifically in the opening interview we did, you said, we're going to change things up just a little bit because we want to do things a little different, but that doesn't mean a big change. It just means we're going to progress in some areas a little bit different than the way we've been doing things.
Yeah, I mean, that should happen in any program, regardless if you have a new coach or not. I mean, you're going to have seniors leave and you're going to have newcomers join the team. And there should be a different math to each team. You're going to have different strengths and you're going to have different weaknesses. And that's the fun part about coaching year to year is trying to figure out what those things are and manage those strengths and weaknesses from there. It was a great year and I feel like me and the coaching staff did a good job of, finding things that we were really good at and hiding the bad things.
Well, I think you did pretty good because that state championship medal that's right behind you, the little plaque there. Yeah. That kind of signifies how well you did last year. So always great to win that state championship as a head coach, whether you do it, first year, second year, whatever. But you decide to go ahead and do it first year. So now you just heightened the expectations, right? Yeah. Everybody expects you to do it over and over again, right?
I kind of joke maybe that shouldn't have happened year one because now everybody knows that we can do it. No.
Yeah.
That was obviously the cherry on top, but the girls bought in. And I mean, looking back at how much time we spent in the gym and with each other, that could have easily gone in a different direction. And I put that back on 100% on the girls. We ended with 26 girls on not my bench, but on my roster. And That's a lot of people, and that's a lot of places where things could veer and go in different ways. But they just bought into each other and kind of just figured out the system that worked for them.
As someone who's won a state championship as a player and assistant coach, now head coach, how do you define Lovejoy volleyball? I mean, the only real way to define it is championship expectations every season, right?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a culture of winning, which I've been a few different places, and definitely competitive programs, don't get me wrong, but it's just you're starting multiple steps ahead. So if you can keep that lead, it is helpful to have that advantage of just that mental mindset of championships. I think like dynamic is a huge word that comes into play too with Lovejoy volleyball. All these girls go and play club and go off and play college. Not all of them, but a lot of them do, and they might have a specific position that they're best at. But I always teach in my gym, like, be good at two things. If you can't be good at two things, then you're probably not playing for me. And I think, my two setters were two of the best setters in the country. They both hit too. And so that's just a prime example of, high school volleyball looks different. It is different. You don't get to pick your teams, and
right.
You play with the people that you live next to, and you work with each other. So it's fun.
It's fun, but at the same time, with the championship expectations per se, how do you deal with it? And especially now that you won the state championship as a head coach and you return, and expectations are going to be the same.
Yeah, I think we'll start at a high level August 1st, Monday morning, and hit the ground running by doing some conditioning and different mental games and things like that. But it's almost like you do have to hit the reset button every year. It'll be a part of my day one speech again. This year isn't last year. Last year wasn't the year before. Like we're a completely different. We graduated 11 seniors this past year, so we are a completely different team.
Yeah, and you graduated a little bit of talent this year too.
Yeah, so which makes it fun. Like I said, that's the fun part of coaching high school volleyball is you do get something new every year, and it's your job to find out where you're going to succeed.
So how is Natalie Puckett different now than she was 360 some days ago?
It is really nice to kind of know what to expect. Not that I didn't the year before. I've worked with Ryan for a lot of years, and he let me do a lot with him and beside him and not necessarily below him. So I knew what to expect, but to witness it firsthand in a full season, winning a state championship, that's the maximum amount of days that you can have in your season. So, just knowing the full picture of what to expect and kind of what it takes to get there is nice going into, time wise, days wise, practice wise, but I'm excited. I think I'm, rejuvenated and slept a little this summer, and
there you go. Well, I know that you have high expectations on yourself, and you're never really satisfied until the season's over. And of course, every group has one team. Only one team's gonna, end the season on a win, and that was you. When did you actually take time to breathe and say, "Wow, we did quite a lot," and exhale? Basically, when did you exhale and just take the moment in?
I don't want to be that person and say I don't think I ever did, but I think I don't know. It was fun to be able to celebrate. We had a little pizza party with the parents and the girls, the night of winning, and you go to Thanksgiving break and you celebrate with your family, and definitely the other coaches coming back and getting to hang out with them, all the football coaches and basketball coaches, and like that, like getting to kind of be coaches together at Lovejoy celebrating. But I would be lying if I didn't say like next year wasn't already a thought. You kind of have to tie it up in a bow and celebrate. And of course, Avery getting the Gatorade Player of the Year, that was another huge celebration in January. So we continue to have those little celebrations throughout the spring semester, but
right,
just little spurts of I don't know, getting to celebrate. But you always are kind of thinking about the next move. And
you mean former Lovejoy setter, Avery
yes.
Carlson, right? Okay. All right.
I guess she doesn't get a 5th year for us.
No, sorry. When we had COVID, we had, college players allowed to extend, but not high school, unfortunately. So how good would you be with it? No, we're not even going there. Forget it.
We can't go there.
No. But let's go to what are you looking at? What is the Lovejoy community looking at as far as their roster makeup, as we can talk right now, as we're days away from August 1st? How are we looking, and how's the setter position?
Yeah, no, that's another exciting part. My coaches and I were just talking at Open Gym, with graduating 11 seniors, that does leave some holes. We're looking at 17 girls on varsity. Of course, you have to mention Hannah Gonzalez coming back.
Of course.
Beast in the middle. She'll be one of our huge leaders this year. I'm really excited to see kind of what she does and how she helps us. Really on the court, obviously, she's super active and, is fun to watch, but off the court I think is where she thrives the most. She definitely has kind of mama bear tendencies. She'll make sure everybody's taken care of, but she'll also push people to get better. And she definitely has that one standard, and it's pretty high. So that'll be fun to coach and watch and be a part of. Trying to think, our setters. Yes. Bethany Wu was with us. She got pulled up for playoffs in 2020, and then she was with us on varsity last year. She's played at TAV 16s this past year. She's legit. She's smart on and off the court. I'll say that about all of my girls. That's always a goal of ours, is to make sure we're all district academic, and if we can, all state academic. And she doesn't have any issue with that. And her counterpart, Nicole Cornell, is a move-in. She came to us in March. She's a little lefty setter. So
wow,
really excited about the two of them and kind of the duo of what they'll bring. Super, super smart girls, and able to kind of digest and decompress some different things. So I'm excited about the conversations that we'll have with them.
And what year's Nicole?
Nicole and Beth will both be juniors.
Okay. All right.
And then we'll be a senior.
Okay. All right. So once again, Lovejoy has found an answer. No, just kidding. As you begin coaching year number 2, are we getting a little bit of distance between Natalie Puckett, the former player, and Natalie Puckett becoming head coach of a storied organization a little bit?
I think so. I think, coaches always have those things that they always say, and you don't recognize that you say them all the time or over and over. But something that I like to, especially when we're conditioning, is, mention like it's worth it. It's worth it. And last year, I feel like the girls bought into it, but this year they're able to see what we did last year and be like, okay, well, Coach Puckett was a part of a state championship here again. Like, she knows it's worth it. She knows the math behind it. So there might just be that extra level of trust embedded already.
Right. If you keep doing this, and I'm not saying you're going to win state every year, but you'll make state every year, right? Anyways, I could see you there for 20 years if you wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know. It's home. I mean, I went to Lovejoy, so it's definitely a different sense of ownership on that part. But I don't know. I'm good for now.
And as I understand from you telling me earlier, there's a whole bunch of Pucketts around there, right?
There's a few, yeah. My cousin is actually my freshman coach, Brooke, and then her dad, my uncle, used to be the athletic director and football coach here.
What's his name?
Jim Bob Puckett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Boy, if there's a Texas name, there it is right there, right?
That's it, yep.
Seriously. Hey, so Natalie, I've been asking coaches my theme question, if you will. Back in 2020, and you actually weren't a head coach at the time, you were an assistant to Ryan. But back in 2020, remember we had the shortened season, weren't sure when we were going to play. But once we got to state, I got a chance to talk to some of the coaches, and they said that the weird thing, besides everything else that was weird about that season, but on a positive note, they weren't used to having 95% of their roster, 90% of the roster, because number one, we were only 25, 30 matches in when we got to state, number one. So the girls hadn't suffered injuries. They hadn't suffered, the nicks, cuts, and bruises that you get, and, you sit girls for 2 or 3 matches, which was amazing to me, which, of course, back in March, everybody had stopped everything. We just quit playing everything. So club was gone and the whole deal. So I'm trying to find out from coaches, what did we learn for the positive side of 2020 going through that? And are we still applying, or have we taken some of that positive stuff and applied it to what we're doing today?
Yeah, I think you'll see last year, we saw a lot of programs decide to cut back on a tournament and pick a couple games up instead, or I don't know, spread the love on their rosters a little bit more earlier on to kind of help those injuries, prevent those injuries, I guess, throughout the year.
Right.
One thing we also saw, we kind of went back and forth a little bit last year, was, just switching sides. Like that's something that was, our district decided to stay, and then playoffs, I think it was, if one coach wanted to stay, you had to stay, and then you get to stay. Right. And if one coach wants to switch, you have to switch. So just the mind game of all that was exciting. I mean, it changed.
No, there's never mind games with coaches. Come on.
But, no, I think it kind of just helped everybody. I knew that was going to happen.
Oh,
sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
On this timer, and if I sit here for too long,
no,
I think it kind of helped everybody take a step back and really evaluate how much, pressure and time and games and practices that we were putting on our girls. We definitely learned from that. We take the Tuesday after Volleypalooza off. So we could have picked up a game there, but the second we get back from Volleypalooza on Saturday night, we take roll, of course, during athletics, but I send them on, and they go take care of whatever they need to take care of. Massages, PT, tutoring, from all the school that they've missed. But I think it just helped people put things in perspective and realize how much time we were putting on these girls.
That's so great. That's so great. I'll tell you, one of my favorite stories is Tara Grant down at Westwood. She said what she learned was, she learned, kind of like you said, played more girls during preseason, but she also said what that did was it showed her what she had on the bench, because she had girls that, might not particularly get a whole lot of meaningful playing time. And she definitely became a better coach, and Westwood won district that year because she knew what she had.
Yeah.
And I was so amazed. And it's like, now we're past it, knock on wood. It's just so good to see that we learned some things. And I talked to Terry Wade out of Woodlands, and she said, I'd really like to see us cut back on their time overall between club and high school, just, cut back on playing time so they get time to relax and be kids. I don't know. Go ahead.
That's just it's interesting because it's all a competition, right? That the sport is a competition, but then it's almost like how much time you're putting in, like with your feet on the court, that's become a competition too. So it's not only I'm a better player than this girl, or we're a better team than this team. It's I've put in more hours than this team, or I've put in more hours than this girl. But at some point that math doesn't add up. You're breaking down your body, and you're putting too much time into something, and you might end up injured or burn out or something. So it's case by case scenario, of course, but it's finding that math that adds up to you as an individual athlete.
Right.
I don't know.
By the way, that's Blue behind me. She's been walking in and out. She's been listening. Interesting. So Lovejoy this year's schedule, first match, and what tournaments are you playing in this year?
So we'll open with Prosper at home. So we kind of.
Oh, good chance to get a little revenge on Aaron Kaufman. That's nice.
Right. And then we have Rockwall. So that'll be a good 2-day tournament, best 3 out of 5. And then we'll go Northwest and Volleypalooza.
Oh, good. Well, I'll see you at Northwest because I'm covering that for NISD. So
Perfect.
That'll be fun to see that one. Yeah. And you can tell the girls for the Prosper that they're not returning undefeated, so they can go ahead and go out and win. Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We're coming out from a different season. No,
Oh,
that'll be a challenge this year. They're stacked. I'm excited to see what they put together.
So as a second-year head coach and a younger head coach, tell me, who are the coaches that you've worked with and who you correspond with and look up to? Who are the coaches, that have had an impact on your what's now 1 year state championship coaching career? Head coaching career.
Of course, Ryan Mitchell. I mean, I talk to him, probably send him a text once a week, just questions or check-ins or different things like that. And he's got a bunch of my girls at Skyline too. So just making sure everything's we're good on that end. Aaron Kaufman was a huge help last year. We ended up playing Prosper 3 times. And of course, in the moment, we are both very competitive, her and I. But the second that game ends, it's like, okay, what were you trying to do? What was I trying to do? Let's make each other better. And I think we talked for like 30 minutes after night 1 of just, hey, I think you could try this. And then she gave me some suggestions. So she was definitely a huge help. I think she watched a couple, I think she was at the regional tournament. She watched the Friday night game and, gave me her thoughts. And
oh, that's good.
Yeah. So Leslie Jackson over at Geyer is always a text that I'll send out. She's a fellow younger head coach, and we bounce some ideas off of each other. There's tons of coaches. Coach Harriman here is our boys basketball coach, and I'm in his office quite a bit, just going through what would you do here, or how would you handle this, and
right.
I think if you're not learning or you're not trying new things, then what's the point? You got to make it the best for the girls as possible, and I'm willing to put in the time for that. So,
well, I've been blessed to cover Lovejoy for quite a while. Give you a chance to give a shout out to your assistant coaches and to your community.
Yeah, no, we were sad to have one of our assistant coaches leave, but somehow we got her replaced by 2 assistant coaches. So we'll have wow. 5 coaches. Yeah, 5 coaches on staff this next year. Tasha Hollum's coming to us from Rockwell Heath. Ashton Ritchie's coming to us from Needville. She played at Houston Baptist. And then wow. We'll have Lauren Hayes returning as one of our JV coaches, and then Brooke Puckett returning as our freshman coach. So I'm super excited at just the knowledge that we'll have in our gym will be phenomenal. I'm really excited about the dynamic of our female staff and how we'll work together, and our community too. The parents are chomping at the bits to get the season going, but of course, use their 2 weeks that they have off for their vacations from club to high school. But no, our community is incredible. They're super supportive. They expect a lot, but they are willing to do whatever they can to help you get there, which is awesome.
Well, and in a personal testimonial, especially being close to the Carlson parents over the years, I mean, if they know who you are, they are so accommodating. I mean, and not just the Carlsons, but everybody in the Lovejoy group. I mean, when you guys were down at Volleypalooza, I spent probably 30 minutes talking to Lovejoy parents across the board in the stands before a Lovejoy match. So, I mean, just genuinely wonderful, and they'll talk volleyball like anybody's business.
They know volleyball. That's the thing. It's not
yes,
those
they do.
Who, they show up to their kids' practices and they learn and they know what they're talking about. But that's the thing. They show up. Our community is incredible. If you ask them to be there, they're going to be there. Whether it's a big game or senior night or something like it, our community shows up, which is awesome.
All right, so give a chance to give us. Let's see here. Give me your thoughts about what. I remember I asked this before, so I'll ask you again this year. Going into that first match, because you're in your second year now, and because you're not coming off an undefeated season, what's going to be the difference between you then and you last year before you played Prosper the first time?
I think one thing I definitely learned is, if you've got 17 people on your roster, Might as well use them. We had 18 last year, and I think like we just talked about, it's night one. That was a joke that we made at our banquet, like raise of a hand who thought the world was ending after night one, and we all rose our hand, right? But
how many parents? Yep.
Yeah. Everybody, we were all on the same page. But
oh my God.
I think we just have to be comfortable with growth and know that there are going to be high highs and low lows. And I think just having last year under my belt kind of helped me look at, big picture. Big picture is, did we get better? Did we try some different things? Being flexible and dynamic is going to be huge.
Mm-hmm. All righty. I think we've exhausted every possible question. It is so great to talk to one of the up and comers, the young guns, if you will. But man, what a season you had. Congratulations on that. I know you'll never ever, probably 25 years from now when you retire, you might think back, but congratulations on a great season. That was phenomenal. You guys, you and your team and your community accomplished a heck of a lot for year one.
We did. Definitely couldn't have done it without, like you said, the girls buying in, the parents, the community, our athletic director, our other coaches here. I mean, it's a pretty cool place.
Now go out and do it again.
Yeah, right? Let's try. We got a few days until then, so.
All right, Natalie, thank you.
Thank you.